In a quiet suburb of Cleveland, Ohio, there was a house that became a base. It was not a base for soldiers, but for ghosts. It was the Reese family home, and its commander was a woman named Eleanor Reese. Her husband, Bill, was a navigator on a B-17. In February 1944, a telegram arrived, missing in action over Berlin. From that moment, Eleanor's war changed. Her front line was the front porch, where she waited for the postman. Her intelligence was the weekly list in the newspaper, under the headline, Casualties. Her base of operations was her kitchen table, which she transformed into a command post. On it, she built the garden of missing things. It was not a garden of plants, but of objects. It began with Bill's last, unfinished letter, the one that stopped mid-sentence. Next to it, she placed his favorite coffee mug, which she refused to wash, preserving the faint, dry stain at the bottom. She added a single cufflink she'd found under the bed, a map of Europe he'd pored over, and the tin of peppermints he always carried in his flight jacket, now half full. Each item was a supply depot for hope. The letter was proof he had been thinking of her. The cufflink was a promise he meant to return. The map was a link to the sky over Europe, where he might still be. The peppermints were a tiny, tangible piece of him, a sweetness she could hold in her hand when the fear was too bitter. Her mission, as she saw it, was sustenance. To keep the idea of Bill alive and well supplied with memory, so that if he were in some prisoner of war camp, the force of her belief would reach him. She wrote letters to the War Department, the Red Cross, and to other families of missing men from his squadron, forming a network of shared uncertainty. They traded rumors and fragile clues, building a fragile intelligence agency of the heart. The neighbors saw a woman clinging to relics. But in Eleanor's mind, she was running the most vital supply line of all, the one that sent love and identity across an ocean, to a man the government could not locate. This base had no trucks or trains. Its logistics were performed through memory at 2 a.m. Its reinforcements were old photographs. And its only delivery confirmation was a dream where Bill smiled. Months passed, then a year. The missing notice was not upgraded to killed. It simply remained, a permanent, unresolved chord. The garden on the table grew. A Victory Garden poster, a savings bond with his name, a newspaper clipping about the fall of Berlin. One afternoon in August 1945, a car pulled up. It was not the telegraph boy. It was an army officer. Eleanor stood in the doorway of her base, not breathing. The officer held a thin file. He said they had found the crash site. They had identified remains through dental records. Bill had not survived. There was no dramatic story. His plane had broken apart in the flak. He had been gone in an instant, 3 days after his last unfinished letter. The officer left. Eleanor walked back to her kitchen table, to her garden of missing things. She looked at the map, the mug, the peppermints. The war was over everywhere else. In her base, it had just reached its conclusive, devastating end. The missing had been found. Her mission was over. She did not clear the table that day, or that week. But she knew she would, for the garden had done its job. It had sustained not Bill, but her. It had given her a purpose during the long silence, to be the quartermaster of a love that was, in the end, stronger than metal or flame. It was the smallest, quietest, and most personal base of the entire war. And its story was the story of millions, a home front that was, in truth, the most perilous front of all.